Let's bring in Ed Martin, president of the Eagle Forum Fund, former state GOP chairman of the Missouri Republican Party, and author of The Conservative Case for Trump, and Leslie Marshall, Fox News contributor and host of the syndicated radio show, The Leslie Marshall Show. So, Leslie, as you watch the departure of Steve Bannon from this White House, what comes to your mind as to the immediate effect?
Well, first of all, I think it alienates some of the extremely conservative base that the president has. And when I say conservative, I'm sorry, that alt-right portion of the conservative base, because remember, Steve Bannon is certainly one of the people who was extremely influential in getting the president elected. But like I said during the campaign, a campaign is not a presidency, and we're seeing that now. I also think it shows the strength of Kelly and his position and his influence. And I also think it does show, because this is becoming a pattern, that the president does not like infighting. And as we know, Mr. Bannon did not get along and play nice with everyone. And additionally, very irresponsible to have a conversation that should have clearly been said off the record on August 16th with the American Prospect when he granted that interview. So I definitely think this shows that there's somebody there saying, hey, you haven't been able to rein in this president that you got to be president, because I think Steve Bannon was keeping Donald Trump, much like the campaigner Donald Trump and not the president that he is now, with the no filter, unhinged, if you will, tweeting and speeches that we have heard most recently.
Ed, we mentioned you are the author of The Conservative Case for Trump. Are you sorry to see Steve Bannon go?
Well, I think Steve Bannon's one of the more talented people that I've seen in politics and policy. And I worked for Phyllis Schlafly, the late Phyllis Schlafly. She admired Steve at Breitbart, his not only communication skills, but he's a real policy guy. So I think I'm sorry he's leaving because he's talented. But I got to tell you guys, this proves yet again Donald Trump is in charge. Donald Trump, no one else gets to call the shots. Nobody he's not a Manchurian candidate. And I think Steve Bannon will be the first. If you know politics and if you know real leadership, when the boss says go, you salute, you submit a resignation last week, and you go. And Bannon will contribute. And conservatives, I'm an arch conservative. I'm not unhappy with anything other than the fact that the president is being tied up by too many moderates in the Republican Party from getting more of his agenda. But Steve did a great job. He'll be a great player wherever he is. And it's it's the President Trump is in charge, and it's great for the country.
There are rumblings that he intends to return to Breitbart, where he'll obviously have quite a platform. What if his positions there don't agree with this White House? I mean, what if essentially there becomes some kind of a war between Breitbart and the Trump administration?
Well, if you're asking me, Steve Bannon, when he was at Breitbart, he disagreed with lots in the party. He disagreed with Trump periodically. I think you saw that. Most good people, I think Trump is good. I think everybody on this show is good, want to get better things happening. When they disagree, they'll disagree. And I think I don't think that will be a war. I think it'll be a disagreement about the direction of the country, and we'll see where it goes. This is playing out in Alabama, by the way. Roy Moore is sort of more conservative, and Senator Strange is less. But Senator Strange worked with President Trump, so there's disagreements. That's okay, right? The progress is for America first, because our country has been really stuck and our people have been stuck, and Trump is bringing us out of that. It's all good from where we're sitting out here in the conservative heartland.
All right. Leslie, would you agree with that assessment?
No, absolutely not. I think that the president does and says what's best for the president, and I think, quite frankly, some of the very damaging tweets that he has made have been damaging to the country, whether you're threatening other nations, with war or nuclear war, whether you're saying irresponsible things about wars that did not exist, that imply the slaughter of someone like in a Muslim religion, if you will, to control ISIS. I mean, the list goes on. I think here what we see is a White House, especially with Secretary Kelly being put in the position to perhaps clean things up a bit, trying to put America first and trying to keep the president on course in the job that he was elected to do, and not go off the rails and become unhinged, as we have seen as of late. And I think that Steve Bannon is not in agreement with some, perhaps in the family, like Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, and of course Secretary Kelly, because they have seen not only the president's poll ratings decrease and the support and people that have said over and over in a New York Times article by one that said, I voted for Trump and regret it. They see this where this is headed, not only for the country, but for the future and possible re-election of Donald Trump.
I think Ed wants to debate you on that point.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the same people. This is like Groundhog's Day. It's the same people a few days before the election that said the polls show in Missouri Trump's only going to win by 4. He won by 19. The polls are wrong. The American people are sick of the bubble in Washington, in the media, and in the political class. They don't want hate. That's true. But they want a leader who's going to say, you know what? ISIS is evil. We're going to get those guys. We're going to get them no matter what. And North Korea, that guy's a thug, and we're going to fight back. Trump is doing that, and he's putting us over China. And all you folks that think that something has shifted in America where the voters are, we're feeling better. Not perfect, but we're feeling better for the first time in a long time. That's what's happening out here.
Yeah, the stock market's feeling better. And as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, the stock market is feeling better today after the ouster of Steve Bannon. So that's interesting how they digest that on Wall Street. Ed Martin, Leslie Marshall, thank you both.